Hey guys, got something a little different for you this week. We're going to be working in Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator is used for making vector graphics, and one of the benefits of vector graphics, you can blow them up as big as you want. They don't become pixelated. So today we're going to create a simple gingerbread cookie, and I'm going to show you how to use both the pen tool and the curvature tool to create this, this object. So go ahead and open up Illustrator. I'm pretty sure I had all of you download it to your computers at the beginning of the semester, but if for whatever reason you don't have it, just go to Creative Cloud and download that. So it's the AI icon right there. So I'm going to go, once I have it open, I'm going to hit open. And I'm looking for the file called cookie. So go ahead and open up the cookie file. And it should open up like this. You'll see the white space is called your artboard in Illustrator, and you'll see the image that we opened doesn't fit the artboard. So the first thing we need to do is go to Object on the menu bar, and almost at the bottom you see the word Artboard, and choose Fit to Artboard Bounds. So when we do that, it fits our image to the artboard, and our focus for this activity is going to be the cookie on the right. So go ahead and scroll over to the cookie on the right, and I'm going to try Command plus one time. I'll have to move it over again. Alright, so I'm going to create the shapes that make up this cookie. I'm going to start with the outside silhouette of the object first. So I'm going to get my pen tool, which is the third button down. So select your pen tool. And when you do that, you'll see for whatever reason, it has my fill color as a question mark and my stroke is no fill. So let's go ahead and reset those both to black and white. So hit your reset button right there, just like Photoshop. So the resets the fill to white and the tracing to black. Just so we have kind of an idea, so we can see the lines that we're creating around this shape. Let's change the stroke color there. So where it's black, double click it. And I'm going to go just to a red so I can see it. And hit OK. And that changes my stroke color to red. And then go ahead and click your fill color box right there. And let's choose the no fill. So the way we do that is right here, that no fill option. So we have no fill for the shape and stroke of red. So now the way the pen tool works here, or the way I'm going to have you do it today, I'm simply going to have you place points. So watch as I do this and I'll explain as I go. So I'm going to place my first point right there, where the kind of the shoulder, the arm comes in next to his head, and then I'm letting up on the mouse each time I place a point, and I'm looking up. I'm going to place a point about there, and I'm going to go back after the fact with what's called the curvature tool and bend these lines, but I'm doing that after I get my shape completed. So I'm placing my points far enough apart that I can create a smooth kind of curve later on. So these may or may not be the correct locations. It's kind of one of those trial and error things. Let me Command Z to undo that point because I wasn't right where it needed to be. Alright, so right there I've created the shape that's going to be the curve around the head, right? So now I'm going to go out here and start creating points to make this curve. And one thing I want you to understand is it's always better to put your points a little farther apart. Well, not here, because I got to create that. But it's better to put them farther apart than you may think they need to be, because that allows you to create better curves. And you'll see with the curvature tool, you can always go in after the fact and manipulate the location of these points. So I'm going around the gingerbread there. Alright, so you see I have that shape so far. Okay, so that's what I do with my pen tool. I simply place the anchor points, and if you want to see a wider stroke here, go to your Properties panel right there, and you can adjust the stroke size. So let me take that up to, let me go to 4. Yeah, 4 looks good. So I did this, bump the stroke size up to 4, and I can see my lines a little better. Now go ahead and grab the button just below the pen tool. That's called your curvature tool. Alright, so that allows you to do a couple things. Number one, if you click within the middle of the line right there, you can bend it out to create that curvature. You can also manipulate the anchor points, so you can move those after the fact. We may or may not have to do it on mine, but I'll show you how it's done. Alright, so let's say I have that. I don't want to do it on the head because I was very symmetrical in where I placed my points, but I'll do it on one of the other appendages. So let me take this down, and you can see I'm just mimicking the curve that's already there, right? So you see I'm not perfect. This one's not perfect, so I'm going to go in after the fact, and let me Command plus a couple times so you can see what I'm doing. Oops. Alright, so this one's not perfect, so if I want to pull that anchor point in after the fact, I have the ability to do that. Alright, that's what the curvature tool does. So I can pull this one in slightly if I want to, and adjust where they're located. I'm going to go ahead and bring that, and you can see wherever I kind of move the anchor point, it manipulates where the curve's going to be. Oops. So go over there. I'm not going to stay zoomed in this much for long. So I'm able to create a similar shape to what's there. I'm not going to be able to do it identical. Alright, so I'm creating that curve. This one, I'm going to bump in just a little bit, kind of exaggerate it right there. And you can play around with that and get it close. I'm going to zoom out so it's not so difficult to move around. Okay. And I'm just getting it pretty close. Doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, so hopefully you're seeing this is a lot easier than the pen tool I had to use in Photoshop a couple weeks back. And this is actually a new feature in Illustrator this year. Prior to this, it worked just like the Photoshop tool. Alright, so we have the gingerbread shape right there. Let's go ahead and change the fill. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my layers panel right there, go to layers, expand it, and I'm going to hide the bottommost layer right there. So I'm hiding the bottommost layer. The only thing you're seeing is what I just created. So let's go ahead and number one, let's change our stroke color right there. So click on the stroke, and you might have to if you double click it, it brings up the color picker, and we'll use that as default. So I'm going to go to my blacks, hit OK, and now I have a black silhouette, right? And I can see the areas I like or don't like, and if I don't like that curve right there, I can just simply grab my curvature tool and bend that in slightly, and that fixes that just a little bit. Now there's a slight error there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Let's go ahead and adjust the fill too. So if I double click the fill color, I can move up to my light browns or yellows, whatever I want to get into. Alright, that's a little too dark. I don't want that to be that dark. A little lighter. Okay, and you can choose whatever color you want for your cookie. I'm just using that as an example. Alright, so I have my outside shape created. I'm going to hide that, and I'm going to show what's there because I'm going to use this image to get the details from this cookie. Alright, so I'm going to create the squiggly shapes right there. So let me go ahead and get my pen tool and zoom in. And I'm going to go there, there, I didn't want the fill, but it's there, so I'll have to go change it after the fact. Alright, so that's no fill. Alright, so this is what I'm left with, those points there, and now I'm simply going to use my curvature tool to try to mimic what was the pattern that's there. And this does not have to be perfect. Just try to get it close, and you can go in after the fact and adjust it later if you need to. And let's give that a fill color now. So you want to sample what's there, you can. So you should be able to get your eyedropper tool, sample the color, and when you sample it, it gives it that fill. And I'm going to click right here and go to black to have the black outline. So if I go back and I hide the bottommost layer and show the two I've created, that's what you have so far. Okay? And you can change that color, you can change the stroke size, and we may go in after the fact and just bump the stroke size up just a little bit. Take it up to 4. Let me change my fill color right there. And I'm going to look at, I kind of like the grayish better anyway. Alright, so the kind of gray color there, and if you want to change it to white or red or whatever icing you want to use, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going back to my layers. I'm going to hide the 2 I've created and show the bottom image, because now I'm going to go ahead and create the icing on the right. So let me get my pen tool with no fill, black stroke, and I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to put my points kind of where I think they need to be. Alright, so put my points, got my curvature tool. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and I'm simply bending the lines right there. Alright, and going to give it a fill. Alright, so the recently used color right there, just like the other side. And I should be able to show everything I have except the bottommost layer and see what I have. Now, I drew this one a little too far over the outline, so let me get my curvature tool and I should be able to bring those anchor points right in, okay? And I like the way this lines up because it allows me to bring those in. So now I can zoom out, and this is what I have so far, right? Now I might have to bring this one in a little bit as well, so let me get my curvature tool and just like that, I want the path. Okay. Alright, so that's what I have so far. Let me hide those shapes and show the bottommost layer, and now I need to create the other items we see. So I'm going to start moving a little quicker here because I think y'all get the idea. So I'm going to there. Alright, so I create that shape. I'm going to do the one on this side, then come back with the curvature. Well, let me just do it as I go. I don't want to confuse you guys. Alright, so zoom in, bend this one out just a little bit, bend it in. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're not going to be comparing it to the original image or people looking at your art. So I didn't like the way that one is, so I'm bending that anchor point, or moving that anchor point just a little bit. And let's take this one up. Down, and this one back up. Okay, so that's looking better. Does that line up good enough? Yeah, I'm going to use the same fill I used before. Deselect it and then move over to the other one. Alright, so let me go over here and there. And bend those. So taking this one up, taking this one down. So it's a real handy tool to use. I know the students in my animation class really like it because that class, some of the students are good drawers, some of the students struggle drawing, I struggle drawing. So they can use the pen tool and the curvature tool to create some really good characters that they later animate. So if you struggle at drawing like I do, this tool is very helpful, especially in the animation type class. Alright, so this is I have my path drawn. Let me give it a fill, and I should be able to show what I have so far, and zoom out, see how it's looking, and I can see right there I need to change the stroke color to black. I need to bump the stroke size up to 4 to make it look like the rest of my cookie. Okay, so there's my gingerbread cookie so far. I might have to adjust the path down there and there, but I can do that a little bit. Alright, back to my layers right there, and going to hide everything except the bottommost layer and create additional details. Alright, so I'm just going to put 4 points for these and grab my curvature tool, zoom in. And forgot to change the fill, but that's alright, we can leave it just like it is. Okay, and I can always bring that down, bring this one up if I need to. Okay, good enough. Let me go up to this one and get my pen tool, going there, there, there. Get my curvature tool. All right, bring this down just a little bit. All right, looks pretty good. And if I zoom out, I can hide the bottom layer, see what I have so far with my Gingerbread Man. So far, this is what I've created. Notice the icing's all a similar color. I'm gonna go in and fix this right now. It's driving me nuts. All right, so I didn't line these paths up exactly, so I'm gonna get my curvature tool, select that path, and pull that out just a little bit. All right. I might have to pull this anchor point down to get it to line up. Ooh, that didn't go good. Why don't you want to line up? And you can fine tune these a little bit. There, that's better. All right, so I'm not going to get it perfect. It's not perfect down there. Stop. Too much. Gets a little tricky when you got the stroke size of 4. If your stroke's a little smaller, it becomes easier. Good enough. All right, so that's what we have so far. All right, let's create the details of the face and the bow tie, and then we'll be done with this vector object or vector image. All right, so let's create the bow tie. So I've got pen tool. I'm just going to go there, there. They're supposed to be. Why did it go white on me? This is supposed to be no fill. There we go. Let's do it this way. There are a couple different ways you can do it. Let's just do it this way, guys. Let's just pretend like this, the knot is not there. We'll go back and create it in a second. So that is where I've placed my anchor points. Yours don't have to be exactly there, but these anchor points should work just fine. So I'm going to take this up, bend it, and I realize I need to move this down a little bit and bend this slightly. Okay? How this is going to turn out. I'm not liking this too much. That's fine. Alright, so the stroke size needs to be a little bigger, so go properties, bump the stroke size up to 4. Alright, and so I have that, and now I'm going to, let's fill that with red as well. So I can simply grab my eyedropper, sample the red, and it's going to use the exact reds that's there. And as far as the stroke goes, we can go use black on that. And that's got to be 4. Why did it bump down again? I don't understand that. Alright, so that's our shape. And we're going to go ahead and to our layers panel, let's hide the one we just created. And we need to create this now. So get your pen tool in there. I'm just going to go there, there. And it made it black again. I don't know why it keeps making it black. Give it a fill of, so select your fill color, sample the red, and turn it, I don't know why it's giving the fill. Alright, go to properties, bump the size up to 4. There you go. Get your pen tool, and let's bend this thing around a little bit. Or curvature tool, I'm sorry. Alright, so let me zoom out, see what I have with the bow tie and everything else. So go to your layers, let's show everything we've created so far. Alright, so we got a bow tie. Mine's not as good as I anticipated, but it's fine. We'll close that, and let's go back and create the face. Oops, didn't want to do that. I can leave everything shown except for that. Alright, so I want to recreate the face, so this shouldn't take long, so Command plus. Alright, so with the pen tool, I'm going to go there, there. Alright, get the curvature, so Command plus, and we're going creating that, that. Alright, so let's give that let's go sample the pink and give it a black stroke and make sure the size is 4. Good. And let's go Command, oops. So we've got the mouth drawn. Let's go ahead and draw the eyes and we'll be done with this activity. So Command plus to zoom in on the eyes. Alright, so let's just use, let's use the pen tool. So there. Okay, so that, we're going to give it a, I should reset to black and white, and then the stroke size is going to be, let's just take the stroke size of the eyes to, we'll do 4. Alright, so we have that, and I'm going to, let me just get my shape tool to draw the eyes. So the shape tool is the 5th button down, get your ellipse, make sure it is, let's go black fill. That's not what I wanted to do. Command Z. Alright, so we'll just draw a, click off the black fill. And no stroke. And you're left with that. And you don't need to do the white. What are these? Actually, let's do this. Select it. Let's make it a little bigger. Okay. And then go ahead and get your shape tool. Change the fill color to white and no fill. And then we'll just put a tiny, right there, a tiny circle right there. And we'll do the same thing on this side. So get your shape or ellipse tool. Let's change the fill color to black, no stroke, and we'll draw a, there for the ellipse. Click off it and reset your foreground to white or fill color white. Stroke, we're going no stroke, and get your ellipse tool and we'll just make a small ellipse right there. And check it. Alright, so let's go to our layer panel. Oops, what did I miss? Where did the eye go? Did I not draw it? Oh, I didn't draw the big eye. I forgot. Alright, so let's do that. Right there, we gotta go. We're gonna have to go right there, select that layer. Let's draw our ellipse. So it's white fill. Reset your foreground and background color to black and white, and let's just draw our move it down the layer panel, and you can use your arrow keys to manipulate its position if you need to. And let's go to properties, bump the stroke size up to 4, and if you need to adjust the shape at all, you can do that as well. Okay. That looks goofy by using the ellipse right there, so I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to use the pen tool to create it. So let me go, let's see if I can freehand this. Curvature tool. Curvature tool. I don't like how the eye turned out. Oh well. We can play around with that a little bit if you need to. Alright, so let me go to my layers, bump that down to the layer panel, and we should be good to go. So, right there. Alright, kind of got, that ellipse is way too big. I don't like the way this looks. Anyway, I don't know why my eye went so crazy. Alright, good enough. He's a little goofy looking gingerbread man, but he's fine. Good to go. Alright, so that's what I want, and let's go ahead and save this as an SVG file. So I want you to go to, let's go to File, let's do this. I'm going to delete this layer, so I'm going to take that to the trash can. Alright, so the only thing that's left is my gingerbread man. And just like we did before, I want you to go to, I'm going to collapse that layer, go to Object on the menu bar, go to Artboard and choose Fit to Artwork Bounds. And that should bring your artboard in, is what we want. Now save this as an SVG file. So let's go to File, Save As, and instead of format being Adobe Illustrator, let's take that to SVG right there. And you're going to, so you can save this as Cookie. As SVG. You are done, so hit save and hit OK, and you're good to go. Hope you had fun, hope you learned a little bit, and we'll see you soon.